How's it? Welcome to Raiders Gonna Rate. Arsenal player ratings for the Arsenal match today against Manchester United. Jessinho and I are going to get into it right now. So a 0-0 draw. We literally were just talking about this before we came on the air. All things considered, not the worst result in the world. It's a point. We stay unbeaten. It's a clean sheet. It was an entertaining game, I thought. I'm going to preface all of my ratings once again. I was at work once again, so I was unfortunately not able to just sit and focus 110% for all, 96 minutes, give or take, is what we played, all told. So I saw most of it, though. I was able to actually just kind of stand behind the bar and watch the TV. So it wasn't that bad. I did watch pretty much all the game. So with the exception of a few places here and there, I had to run and do something real quick, but I didn't really miss much of it. But yeah, I just 0-0 draw. I thought it was entertaining. Like I said, not the worst result. Yeah, not the worst result after you see the lineup, in my opinion. I don't know what you think. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Like, once I saw that Xhaka and Tierney were not playing, not really Aubameyang, but those two in particular, I thought walking away with the draw would be good if we could rest Tierney and Xhaka and they could be ready for the next 3 games, which are winnable and are must wins. You know, if you take the emotion out of it being Manchester United, if you're playing the first or the second best team in the league and you walk away with a draw, you're not going to be super upset. And I honestly feel like it was a very even game. So I think it's fair. A draw was fair. I would have loved to win, but
of course. Yeah. Even match, and I think the result matches what we saw. You know what I mean? I think had anyone won at the very end, you almost walk. I mean, it almost feels like you've just lost twice. Either team would have walked away, had the other scored feeling like, man, I just lost 2 games, So it was, like I said, entertaining to me. I did enjoy watching it. I was on the edge. I'm like, oh, come on. People are in the bar and I'm talking to the TV. And like, what the hell is going on with this guy? Meanwhile, of course I live in America. So people look at me like I'm sprouting a second head or something. Like Johnny Knoxville in Men in Black, the little thing comes up out of the backpack. Exactly. Anyway. So let's get into it. I don't know. Flip a coin. Heads, I go first. Tails, you go second. I don't know.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go. Yeah. So we'll start with Leno. Go ahead.
I'm going to give Leno an 8. Very good performance from him. Kept us in the game. Had some great saves. I think I would have given him maybe a little bit, like a half a point higher if his distribution had been a little bit better. There were some times where his longer distribution, trying to find Pepe, was kind of just going out. That's just me nitpicking, but an 8, a solid performance from Leno.
Yeah, the save that he made, I can't remember who it was that actually had the shot, but he's at full extension to his right and literally probably got about this much of his fingertips on the ball to send it just wide. I'm not sure the ball was going in. It might have hit the post. Mm-hmm. Had he not gotten it, but it
was Fred, I think, took that shot.
Was it Fred that? Yes, It was Fred that took the shot. Mm-hmm. So that say, like I said, I'm not sure the shot was going to go in regardless, but that was that. Either way, that's a hell of a save that he made it at full extension in midair. Yes. And we're going to do this again. Probably, I'm giving him an 8, and that's really why. The one thing with Leno and his distribution, that's the knock on him, isn't it?
It's
his distribution. So beyond that, I don't like us going long because I feel like when you go long, it's just a 50-50 ball at that point. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily like playing out from the back as far back. I just, it's like, get the ball up. I don't necessarily like when he goes like to his side, to holding or whoever the other, whoever the partner is back there. But go forward.
Yeah, I get you.
That's my only thing with it. So across the back, Hector Bellerin. So I was thinking about this in the car on my way home. I want to give him. I'm going to give him a 6.5. I'm torn between the 6 and the 7, so I'm going to split the difference. I'm giving him a 6.5. It was just kind of average. He made some good runs, but then I thought he got caught out of position a little too much defensively, which that's the story with Hector Bellerin. 5 is average. I'm going to give him a 6.5 because if a couple of the runs that he made, if they end with a goal, that's a hell of, like, we're talking about that run. Unfortunately, It didn't end with a goal. So if I take just that in a nutshell, in an isolated incident, just the run that he makes, they're good plays from Hector Bellerin. But again, like I said, he did get caught out a few times. Defensively, I'm giving him a 6.5.
Yeah, I mean, I personally thought him and one other person were the worst, by a little bit, and we'll get to that person a little bit later, but
I'm real curious as to who that is for you, because I think you're going to be shocked at who gets the lowest rating from me.
Oh no, because I think it might be the same person, but I think I'm going to give Bellerin a 6. And I'm really bouncing between a 5.5 and a 6. I just think he gave away the ball needlessly a couple of times. He was a little just shaky and non-existent. He wasn't aggressive enough. Like, I didn't think he had a great performance. And I thought, I know that we tied the game, but there were other people on the field that really pushed their performance, regardless if they made mistakes or not. And he just seemed to make mistakes and then just kind of be flat. So I'm going to give him a 6.
Yeah. David Luiz. You went first with so this is you. You get
with David, let's see. David, I'm going to give him a 7. Only a couple people are going to get higher than a 7 because we didn't win the game. And I know that they kept a clean sheet. I think, I'm going to give him a 7. I think he had a solid performance. For me, 7 is solid, good, nothing to worry about, so 7.
I'm with you 100%. And basically I'm just, since I'm going next with holding, I'm just going to talk about them both. They're both getting 7s for me.
too.
I thought they cleared their lines very well. Mm-hmm. United got into some dangerous areas today, and I liked the defensive effort from both of them. Like I said, they made some real strong clearances, stayed on their feet in the box, and I solid performance. It's 7 all the way around for both center halves. And I don't know if you want to say anything about holding it all in there. I'd say the same thing. I'm saying the same thing about holding I'm saying about David Luiz. So
same thing. And I think, to me, like, the partnership is most important, and I think they both solid 7s. There's nothing wrong with what they did. We didn't win the game, so I can't give you a 9 or anything like that. So you weren't amazing, but you were solid. So 7.
Yeah, I like it. So we'll come back. Cedric, to you.
Same, Cedric. I'm going to give him a 7 as well. I don't think he was any better than, he was definitely better than Bellerin to me, because he has to be, because he's on the left-hand side, and that's where we do a lot of our attacking. So I thought he was decent in the final third. He didn't really get beat that often. He got a yellow card really early, which is a little scary, but he really bounced back from that. So 7 for Cedric too.
Yeah, the yellow card was a little iffy.
It was.
I don't know that's if what Bruno did to
Xhaka.
It was Xhaka. Yeah, when he came across the back of his calf, if he's not getting a yellow for that, how do you give Cedric a yellow for going for the ball? I understand it looks bad, but they're both going for the ball there.
Exactly.
Cedric, you know what? I'm with you on this. I'm giving him a 7. For me, it's just a hair above Hector, because he didn't give the ball away needlessly as much as what Hector did. Didn't get necessarily caught out defensively like Hector did, but this was not the same performance as he put in against Southampton, but not terrible. I mean, 7 is solid. That's an above average.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this
grade. And like you said, we kept a clean sheet. Mm-hmm. So, give credit where credit is due defensively on that. Boy, I don't know who I want to go with next here.
Let's go ahead and get it out of the way. Let's get it out of the way.
I'm good. All right, Thomas Partey. Boy, oh boy, this is as poor a performance from him as I've seen. That being said, it wasn't horrible. Like, it was not horrible. I mean, horrible is a 2.
Horrible when you talk about horrible performances, we're talking about red cards and penalties given away. And honestly, he was just sloppy on the ball. Like,
he was very sloppy on the ball.
But when it came to the final, just like wrapping it with a bow, that type of thing, like the touch, it just wasn't there. But we have to keep in mind that he's coming back from an injury.
Right.
And he still needs adaptation as well. He hasn't played a lot of games, and he's never played in the Premier League. So there's things that he was doing in La Liga that I think he's going to have to learn on job that he can't do that in the Premier League. I just saw some things where he probably would have got away with that, last year, but this year he's not getting away with it. So, I mean, if this is a bad Thomas Partey performance, I'll take it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If this, number wise, like I say, you kind of start in the middle. 5, it's like 5 is okay. You had 2 really nice plays, but you had 2 bonehead plays, or you didn't do anything either way. Like you didn't really contribute to the game. I am going to give him a 4, and it might be harsh, but I'm giving him a 4. I'm giving him a 4 because I just thought he did more. He gave the ball away too much, and he didn't win the ball enough to make up for it, in my opinion. He made good runs. He made great runs. He was kind of like Hector. He made the good run, but then he gave the ball away, and it wasn't even. And it wasn't even finish that off with a goal. We didn't even get the chance to finish it off with a goal because he either dribbled into pressure, made an errant pass, whatever the case may be. Whereas, like I said with Hector, there was some of that, but some of the runs that Hector made, he's not the one that gave the ball away. He did it. He did everything he could have. Thomas Partey was like you said. If this is a bad game, we'll take it, right? Might be harsh for me, but I'm sticking with it. I'm giving Thomas a 4.
So harsh.
I'm giving him a 4.
Okay, I'm gonna give him a 5.5, and the reason why is because I'm taking in consideration everything. I expect Thomas Partey to perform at about a 7 or above every single game. So I'm gonna give him a 5.5 because I'm sure if we were all to rewatch the game, we would see that there were some things that he did defensively that are going to go unnoticed, like just shutting off passing lanes and getting a toe on certain passes and stuff like that. I think mostly it was the balls that he was playing into, like, who was that, Aubameyang in the Newcastle game and things like that. Those weren't coming off. He just, I don't know if it was because they were just swarming him a little quickly and he was just too excited. He needed to calm down, but I'm gonna give him a 5.5, like just a little bit lower than Hector. It was just bad, but it is what it is.
I'm just looking at it from if this is average, you were just below it for me. That's all it is. That's all it is. I know it's harsh, but all right. Granit Xhaka.
I'm going to go first on this one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You're up. Go.
Okay. So Granit Xhaka is my man of the match. And to me, he was the best player on the field. I know that they gave it to David Luiz, but I'm not really sure why. If you watched Xhaka play, he carried Thomas pretty much the entire game. And that's hard for me to say because I don't love Xhaka and I love Thomas Partey. So I'm going to give him an 8. I think him and Leno were instrumental to us being good in this game. And if you go back and watch, like, somebody will clip it, he was outstanding. I don't think he had an errant pass. He intercepted a couple of breakaways for Rashford. I think he only got done one time. That was one time he got megged, just one time. He was so good. Like, he was so good. I'm going to give him an 8.
Wow.
Good.
Wow.
Man of the match for me.
That's what's wowing me. The 8. Yeah, both of those things are wowing me right now. Yeah. I agree. He carried Thomas today. He carried Thomas Partey today. I'm gonna go right below you. I'm giving him a 7. We saw this. We started seeing this at this time last year before the shutdown. Started seeing he's getting better now. All of a sudden, he has those games where you're like, Granit Xhaka is going to do Granit Xhaka things, but now all of a sudden he and Thomas Partey have figured out how to play together. It seems like, and okay, Thomas Partey had a bad game, but Granit Xhaka stepped up. So yeah, I'll echo everything you said about him. You know,
he was a monster.
Passing, he was moving the ball forward as well a lot. He rarely did I see the ball on Xhaka's foot where he stopped and passed backward. Sure, some side to side stuff, but for the most part, I think he was moving forward with the ball. So yeah. I'm going with a 7 for Granit Xhaka.
Okay.
Moving on, Pepe got the start out on the right-hand side today, coming off a pretty good performance against Southampton, I would say.
Smith Rowe. Don't forget Smith Rowe.
No, I got him here. I'm going to move across that midfield 3. So Pepe, for me, not a bad game. Not a bad game. He's like, this is 2 in a row for him now that seemed to be, it seems like it's starting to click for him a little bit.
Okay.
Couple of good shots that just missed. Boy, oh boy, did they just miss. You know, I actually thought he tracked back real well defensively as well to help out Bellerin. More than he has in the past anyway. So I like the looks on your face, by the way, as I do this, because I never know what you're thinking. It's like I'm waiting for you to be like, "Are you kidding me? Are you really saying this right now?"
Like, not a bad game, but you'll see when I give him my rating, you'll see. I think he deserves a little bit more than not a bad game, but I get.
Okay, yeah. I'm giving him a 7 today.
Okay.
If I mean, again, it's not horrible. That's above average. He had an above average game today. If he can finish off either one of the 2 real glorious chances that he had, I mean, if he'd have finished off one of those or both, he'd be my man of the match. If he could have put the ball in the net. But for everything I just said, if he scores, that rating goes up. You got to put the ball in the net, but for me, it's a 7.
Yeah. I'm going to give him a 7.5. The only reason why I'm not giving him an 8 is because he didn't score. But I thought defensively he was amazing. He wasn't scared. He was scaring the life out of Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw. I know that people will say that they had a good game, but he had them on toast. He did. Like, they couldn't stop him. I thought that if we had maybe Saka out there, we probably would have won that game, just based on having Pepe out there and having just that additional person on the other side. I think would have really helped him. And I have nothing to complain about except for, he just needs to put the ball in the back of the net. But this is another player that hasn't had a lot of game time. So, I would expect him to continue to play and to continue to get better. And I'm hoping that we continue to see this form. So 7.5 for Pepe. Nothing to complain about.
String it together. Continue to build the confidence. String it together where it becomes habit now. You know what I mean? These performances just start to become habit.
Exactly.
Speaking of ESR, I'll let you take that one.
Smith Rowe, I'm going to give him a 7. I'm going to put him right there with Holding and Louise and all of them. Like, just a really solid performance from him. I thought it was a tough day at the office for him just because he was playing against some really good midfielders and, they were kicking him. They were kicking him. They were hitting him. That he got rocked a couple of times, and it's hard to play against Pogba. He's a massive player. World-class player.
He's an absolute unit.
And I think he held his own. I think he grew into the game. So I'm gonna give him a 7. I thought he was really solid performance from ESR.
So this might shock you.
Oh gosh.
I'm giving him an 8.
Oh, okay.
Because that dude just ran his ass off.
Yeah.
All over the place. He was back defensively. He was on the left. He was on the right. That, like, I think I actually saw him up in the club section at one point cleaning up trash. That, like, he was everywhere.
He was.
I'm giving him an 8, and it really is the game that he had today. The runs. It's a real shame that we couldn't find the back of the net on some of this stuff because for me, people may think I'm crazy for saying this, but Emile Smith Rowe was my man of the match today.
Okay.
It's one thing we forgot to do last week, and I meant to. was give our man of the match. But we've both done it now, so good. It's out of the way with. Like I said, I know that may sound crazy to some people, but it's like it's there. Today confirmed it for me against that midfield of Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, even Fred. And I just kind of, not for nothing, but I thought Fred for them played well today also. And I'm not going to go into that. I don't really care. But Emile Smith Rowe put a shift in today. He absolutely did put a shift in today. My man of the match. Moving on to the left side, Gabriel Martinelli got subbed at halftime. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Gabriel Martinelli filling in for Aubameyang on the left. What'd you think?
Okay, so he's coming back off of an injury, and I think we're expecting him to come back into the form that we remember him having before the injury, before lockdown, and he's just not there. And I mean, Arteta said it was a tactical decision to sub him out at halftime, and I have to be honest, I think that might have been the right decision. I don't think it's for he wasn't trying. He obviously gives 110%. He's just not up to speed. And this was a really tough game playing against a really good defensive right back. And he just wasn't in the game. So I'm going to give Martinelli a 5.5. And yeah, I think him and Thomas were, to me, Thomas for different reasons, but he just wasn't in the game. I'm not surprised that he was taken off at halftime.
I'm giving him a 6, and the only reason I'm going slightly above you with the 6, I agree with everything you just said. It didn't seem like he really offensively didn't really seem like he got into the game too much. He had the ball a couple of times where he cut back into the middle and he started making a play, but then he passed backwards. Mm-hmm. And I remember him passing backwards to Partey, and Partey got the ball, so Martinelli didn't give away possession. It was on Thomas, but he passed back to Partey, and then we immediately lost possession. And the move that he made seemed promising. He could have kept going, and he passed back, and I was just I was left wanting more from him today. So I didn't think he had a terrible game. The reason he gets the 6 is the defensive play he made
on Rashford.
And oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
That's Superman. Like that dude was Superman coming out of like faster than a speeding bullet, came out of nowhere. He was like, literally nowhere. Like he stepped off the pitch to read the newspaper and take a coffee break and then came back on and made that play. So he gets a 6 for me because that play was something else, because that's dangerous. And he stopped. He broke up the danger for me there. But so he gets a 6, but that's why. Otherwise it would have been a 5. It would have been a 5 for me had it not been for that play, because just kind of average, Yeah. So that brings us to Alex Lacazette. I guess this will be on me. Man, just finish, and you're going to get a 9. Finish, and you're going to get a 9. 7.5. 7.5. You got to finish. If you finish, you get a 9. But it's 7.5 for me. Defensively, again, he's everywhere. He's running his ass off. He really is. He's tracking back defensively. He's making defensive plays, getting himself into good positions when we're in attack. Getting the shots on goal. The free kick that hit the crossbar. I almost jumped out of my skin. I swear to God, I almost jumped out of my skin. I thought it was going bar down.
Me too.
It went bar out, unfortunately. Score, you get a 9. But work ethic, the work rate was there on both ends. 7.5 for me from Locke. And I think at this point, he can't be dropped now. He's the guy that going forward, he's the number 9. So
yeah. I'm going to give him a 7.5 as well. I think he was above Luiz and Holding for their solid performance. He was just above that, creeping into 8 territory, but he didn't score the goal.
Right.
And, I really hope that he's okay. That fall that he had was
fall with
really
Maguire looked pretty bad. Yeah.
And I hope he's okay, just because obviously he's an Arsenal player, but also because he's integral to what we're doing moving forward. With Aubameyang looking like he may not even make the Wolves game and Martinelli not being up to snuff, we really cannot afford to lose him at this point. So I'm going to give him a 7.5. Good. He's great.
Yeah. We'll go to the subs. Let's start with Willian, since he was the first sub that came on for Martinelli and played the entire second half. You're up.
This is probably going to shock you. I don't know. Maybe not, but
it's not. You know what? It's not.
Willian's, besides the Fulham game, probably his best performance. He was
Get out of my head.
I'm going to give him a 6.5. I don't think he was out there long enough to get a 7 like Louise and Holding and them, but I'll give him a 6.5. He was decent today.
Okay. If you thought that was going to shock me, what I'm about to say.
Are you going to give him a 7?
Giving him a 7. Yep, I'm going to give him a 7. I'm giving him a 7.
Give him a 7. How?
I'm giving Willian a 7 more because of, how do I say this? I'm giving him the 7 more because of what I expected, and I got more than I expected. When I saw the change at halftime, I seriously, I was like, I'm done. I give up. I'm done. I give up. I had no idea what he was doing there. I'm like, if you'd have subbed, if he could have subbed Aubameyang for or Bukayo Saka for Martinelli, that I could have understood. But are we really going to get that much more from him? Than Martinelli. I give him a 7. And if he could have gotten if he could have scored the one shot that he had, he's probably getting an 8. He's probably getting an 8 or a 9 from me. But it's, again, I think I'm giving him that number more because my expectations were so low.
Were on the floor. Yeah.
Right. The expectation was goose egg. But I hope that, even though I think his confidence is absolutely in the tank right now, and you could see it on the shot, he got no pace on it. I didn't have a problem with the first touch and, taking the touch, then taking the shot. I control that ball and get it on your strong foot. He got no pace on it.
He has no confidence.
Right. And you could almost see it in his passing too, because a few of his passes didn't have enough pace on them. So, but defensively, he was back there. He was putting in the shift. He was running. He was trying to make the plays. I could see the effort there, and that goes a long way with me. Mm-hmm. You've heard this before, whether you've heard it from me, whether you've heard it from the guys on Same Old. One of the things I say is hard work will beat talent when talent doesn't work hard. He worked hard today. We didn't win. But
yeah.
He worked hard today. So he's getting a 7 from me, and I'm hoping, because if he can rediscover his form, that's obviously, it only serves to make us better. So next up was the new arrival, Martin Odegaard, and I guess I get to go first with this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Replaced ESR with about 10 minutes left. I think it was around the 80-minute mark he came on. I could be wrong. I honestly don't know, but I really tried, as difficult as it was. Again, I was at work, but I tried to really focus on him, both defensively, off the ball, obviously when he's on the ball. But I really wanted to see what he was doing defensively and off the ball, and was relatively impressed with his off the ball work. Don't think he had enough time to really make a huge impact. Mm-hmm. And he's only been with the team for 3 days. So I'm giving him a 6. He's not getting a 7 because I don't think he really influenced the game much.
How are you going to give him a higher score than Thomas Partey, though? He was out there for 10 minutes and didn't touch the ball.
Because he didn't do anything. Because he didn't do anything to. He didn't do anything
wrong for that.
To. I don't want to say wreck the game, because Thomas Partey, at the end of the day, he didn't wreck the game. We didn't lose.
Harsh.
Man, Thomas Partey was bad.
You gave him a 4, and you're giving somebody who didn't touch the ball and ran around higher score.
I'm giving him this. I'm giving him the 6 again because I was watching his off the ball movement. That's why I'm sticking with it. What do you got? I assume you're going to give him a 5. That's what I'm.
Give him a 5. He wasn't even out there long enough to do anything. He
was dangerous right at the edge of the box. He had the ball on his foot right at the edge of the box.
He's getting a 5. He didn't do. I mean, not that he didn't do anything like he was a ghost, but I gave Thomas and Martinelli a 5.5. I can't give somebody who's out there for 10 minutes and maybe touch the ball once higher than I just can't. So 5.
I get it. No worries. Eddie came on for Lacazette after the crash with Harry Maguire. 5 for me. Sorry, I jumped in, but Eddie was. But
didn't Eddie run around? Didn't Eddie run around? Why doesn't he get a 6? Like Martin.
He didn't have time to run around. At least Odegaard got like 15 minutes. He got time to run around. Eddie literally came on.
I need to watch you in these ratings.
Oh, stop.
I mean, and Eddie, because I never pronounce his last name right. I would give him the NA, like not applicable. He wasn't out there long enough to do anything.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those subs that like what do you
do? I
don't want to give him a 0 because that, But
okay,
I like the NA. That's
just not applicable.
Odegaard was out there long enough to at least get involved, and he did get involved. Look, he again tracking back defensively, getting himself into positions to receive the ball, and something just fell here. I'm here alone, and something just fell over, and I thought one of my dogs was running around in here. They're not here.
You guys in the comment section, let me know if you agree with Tanner that somehow somebody who had 10 minutes and touched the ball maybe once gets a higher rating than Thomas Partey.
Let me ask you this.
Let me know.
But let me ask you this. If anybody comes on, plays 15 minutes, but gives the ball away and it leads to a goal, it has nothing to do with time. The timing has nothing to do with it. To me, the timing has, unless it's a situation like Eddie where he comes on, there's one kick of the ball and the game's over. Arteta, since I bogarted you going first on Eddie, take Arteta first. What'd you think? Lineup tactics, subs.
I think he was extremely smart for telling Hector and Cedric not to leave their pockets too often. I think that it stopped our offense a little bit, but he was very smart knowing that that's the exact space that Manchester United wants to let Rashford and whoever else run into. So we didn't leave them that space. I think the lineup was as good as we could do with the certain people not available. And I don't think that there was much that he could have done off of the bench, like to bring people in. If you look at the bench, like Ceballos is not available, right. So this is all we had. So there's not really anything that he could have done to change the game. And Odegaard, as much as we think that maybe he should have came in instead of Willian, he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have, because he hasn't played. Yeah, he's only been here for a little bit. So we tied the game. We didn't win, so I can't give Arteta a 9. So I'll give him an 8, because I think he did as much as he could do. Clean sheet, got a point against the second best team in the country. Fine.
Yeah, I'm with you on the 8. Lineup wise, he put the best lineup out that he could under the circumstances. No Bukayo Saka, no Pierre, no Aubameyang, no Kieran Tierney. So that's really the best lineup he could put out, and you're spot on. Who else is on the bench? When you look at the bench, it's defensive. It's defensive or it's stagnant. You know what I mean? Eddie was your only attacking option, and I think you and I are pretty much in agreement on that. That's not much of an attacking option. So, sub wise, I'm giving him. I was going to give him a 7, but the more that I thought about the Willian for Martinelli substitution, and I agree with what you said, that was the right. I think that was, in hindsight, that was the right call. In the moment, I'm throwing things. Like, if it would have been my TV, I'd probably have no TV right now.
Right.
But in the moment, I'm like, what the are you doing? But looking back on it now, I think it was the right move. So it paid off. I'm going to give him the 8. So last but not least, Michael Oliver, the ref. You know what? I'm giving him a 4. I'm giving him honest to God, the only thing that's not getting him the 5 for me, I didn't think Oliver was bad. I really didn't think he was terrible. I didn't think he missed much. But if Cedric gets a yellow card for going for the ball on that challenge, Bruno Fernandes has to get the yellow for the rake across the back of Granit Xhaka's calf. To me, he gets a 4 for the. Now, don't fuck you, Michael Oliver. You get a 3 because you're a referee. That's it. You get a 3. I'm changing my mind. You get a 3.
Yeah, I mean, he was not as bad as Kevin Friend, but like, let's be real, he was a joke. He was a joke.
They all are. I mean, they all are.
I'm gonna give him a 3. You know, I think that there was one moment. So if you guys are in the comments, you know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but McTominay had a stomach ache or something, and he pretended like he was hurt, and he went over to the sideline, and we waited for him to get treatment before they took the corner. And he didn't make them like, we don't have to stop for like a stomach ache or whatever the hell it was. Like, it was just so strange how like little stuff like that gets just, if that was us, they would have, you know, like we would have been forced to take it quicker, you know, and he was sick or something, and they got to like wait and take the corner once he got back on the field. They should have played with 10 men. Like, I'm nitpicking, but being an Arsenal fan is like a war with the refs all the time. So I felt like he was bad, but not as bad as Kevin Friend. Bruno Fernandes should have at least got a card for raking, you know, Xhaka's heel, you know, and he was just all right. Like
no referee is ever really going to get above a 5 for me, because even if a referee gives us the game, even if they come out and they're just like, every call goes our way, and even if there are calls that you look at and you're like, I can't believe I got that call, I'll take it. I'm rating the referee on the job that he does for both teams, and the only thing I ask for is consistency. So for me, you can't really, the only way for a ref to get higher than a 5 for me is for there to be a lot of he has to be involved in the game. The players have to do things to get the referee involved in the game. And from there, it has to be the absolute epitome of consistency. So if you're not, it's only going to, referee for me can really only ever go down from a 5, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, the good thing is that we played Manchester United twice, no penalties.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
How sick is that?
Yep. Boy, you should have put a 5er on that one. Guaranteed you to won some money on that.
I mean, they were flopping like fish, you know, but no penalties. So I'm happy about that.
Yep. Yeah. So there you go. See? So at least Oliver, he got it right that way, because there was absolutely no instance for a penalty in that game. So,
exactly.
That's going to do it for us, guys. That's it. Second episode of Raiders Gonna Rate. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Please, if you're not already, hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Give us a thumbs down if you don't. That's fine too. You're allowed to give a thumbs down. Everybody all the time says, hey, give us a thumbs up. You know what? If you don't like it, give us a thumbs down. But if you're going to give us a thumbs down, you got to tell us why.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
You guys also don't forget that tomorrow we're going to have the post-match show for Shino's Arsenal. It's going to be at 6 p.m. UK time. And I'm going to have Drew Thompson and Michael McDonald on. So it's going to be a really good show, live show, and just mark your calendars. And obviously, if you're following me on Twitter, you'll get all the notifications for it. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys there.
And make sure that if you're subscribed, hit the bell. That way you get all the notifications from YouTube as well whenever we go live or we drop a new episode of anything at all. So thank you very much, guys. We're going to get out of here. Everybody have a good weekend. Jess and I will see you back here with Raiders Gonna Rate on Tuesday after the Wolves match. See you out there.